This happened when I was about 10 or 11 years old. I lived in a fairly quiet suburban town in Australia. Crime rate was almost non-existent, so parents were pretty laid back about letting their kids play in the streets without supervision from time to time. While this was great for us, the kids, for other more sinister people, this was something that could easily be taken advantage of. One weekend, I'd convinced my parents to let me go home after school with a friend to stay over one Friday night. I regularly went to this person's house and I knew their parents quite well. Since they trusted me, it wasn't a problem letting us both play with the other kids on the street past 9 p.m. My friend's house was located at the back of a cul-de-sac or dead-end street. The kids from the neighbouring houses would regularly congregate at the end of the street at night to hang out. So tonight, we decided to join them. It was a usual thing we did when I was over. This night, since it was a weekend, there were a lot of us, maybe 6 or 7, and we decided to play 44 home, which is pretty much a game of tips with the end goal of getting to a designated area before you are tipped in order to be safe for that round. Well, shortly before starting the game, we were all deciding on where the safe zone should be. So as we started looking around for a suitable spot, my friend nudged me and told me to look down the end of the street. He had a puzzled look on his face, like he was seeing something unfamiliar. He asked me if I thought that tree at the end of the street kinda looked like a person. There was a substantial patch of bushland at the area he was pointing to, so it took me a while, but I eventually saw the tree stump he was pointing at. And yeah, he was right, it did look faintly like the silhouette of a person, but nothing to be alarmed about. It did look a lot more like a tree stump than a person, so we continued playing our game. We were playing the game for about 20 minutes, before some of the girls from the group complained that they were tired and wanted to sit down for a while, so we decided to have a break. As we were sitting on someone's lawn, I looked over at the stump. Weird. It looked a little bigger than before. With my bewildered look, the group asked me what I was looking at. Me and my friend both pointed out the stump and asked if anyone thought that it looked like a person. The girls in the group immediately thought we were trying to scare them. They were about a year or so younger than us, so scared easily. This led to a jumbled debate on whether the stump was a person or not. The majority had their doubts, and one of the boys said that they would walk up to the stump to prove once and for all that it is in fact a stump. Like a herd of penguins, we shuffled about 20 or so meters behind the boy as he approached the stump. When we got about 2/3 down the street, the boy ahead of us froze. One of the girls yelled out, asking why he had stopped. Silence. The kid then took one very slow step back. It was at that moment we turned our attention to the stump. My heart skipped a beat when I clearly saw the stump take a step towards us. From out of the trees, it was clearly not a tree stump. It was a man. No wonder we couldn't see him. He was wearing a black coat, black pants, and black shoes. We all froze in complete and utter fear. My heart was racing. It felt like the scene from a horror movie. He took another step closer, and we could see the outline of his face from the streetlight. His blank expression turned to a sinister smile, like he was about to pull off a heist. Finally, the boy in front of us kicked into gear and yelled for everyone to run. Understandably, we were all screaming for our lives. The girls' screams could have shattered windows as it made almost everyone come out of their houses. Luckily, once we were halfway up the street, a father of one of the kids came out to tell us we were being too loud. We swarmed to him, huffing and puffing, trying to form a coherent sentence on what had just transpired. We looked around for the man chasing us, but he was nowhere to be seen. Not a single indicator that he had even existed. Once we finally got the story out, we were all told to go back to our homes and to go to bed. Whenever we tried bringing up the story, we were shrugged off and told it was probably someone walking their dog or some other excuse. I suppose since we were so young, it highly factored into our credibility. And yes, blah blah blah, kids have imaginations. But in all honesty, I know what I saw, and it was completely compatible with everyone else's stories. The group stopped hanging out after that.